Welcome everybody.
Thank you.
You're in for a treat. I have known this woman here since we were both 12 and going to Baha'i conferences and serving together, and have been able to meet each other occasionally since then. And I'm really excited to share with you that you've got somebody presenting who has had a whole host of life experiences in relationships. All right, she's not only a mother, a grandmother, a sister, a daughter, but she's been a wife, she's been widowed, she's been divorced, she's been married again, she's done it all. And she has stepchildren, and step this and step that and step the other. And at some point in her life, she finally figured out that, you know what? Baha'is and friends and everybody else in the world could really benefit from her experiences, and I am just delighted to introduce Susanne Alexander, who is going to fill you with fabulous ideas on relationship building.
Isn't it great to have a support team that cheers you like that? Welcome, friends. This is going to go kind of at the speed of light. We've got an hour, actually now a little bit less than an hour, and we're going to do our best. I'm going to start out by giving you a little bit of context and definitions, sort of word usage that will help us through the hour, and then I'm going to tell you what's going to happen with the rest of the time together. As Baha'is, we have this focus on global unity. When we look at global unity, the foundational building blocks for that are marriage and family. As we strengthen Baha'i marriages, as we strengthen our ability to do marriage preparation and have marriages be strong and unified and healthy, then we're in a better position to be doing social action outreach and influencing the marriages and families of everybody else in the world. One of the vehicles for strengthening relationships and then strengthening marriages is relationship and marriage education. And that's going to be the focus of our conversation today. So what relationship and marriage education are essentially knowledge and skill building. So it's building capacity to make good choices and to establish a marriage that works well. And if we equip people to be in a healthy and happy marriage, then we're doing that basic building block for global unity. And from a Baha'i context, the marriage preparation and marriage education definitely involve understanding what the Baha'i writings have to say about relationships and marriage, taking a look at the current research in the field of marriage, and then applying it so that we are being more skillful in what it is that we're doing. What relationship and marriage education is not is therapy and counseling. It's generally not intended to be for couples who are in crisis. So it's taking people where they're at, helping them to build strengths, to build knowledge and skills, to take marriages that are already good and help them to be excellent, to take relationships that are less skillful, have them be more skillful, and help people to thoroughly prepare for marriage so that we're then not dealing with divorce. That's the intent. I'm going to share with you a little bit about how I tripped and fell and God guided into this line of work, still going there, into this line of work, and then I'm going to open it up for a little bit of question and answer and discussion, and then we're going to do some large group consultation about what do we do with relationship and marriage education generally in the Baha'i community, and where do we go with it from there. So in 1999, Craig Farnsworth and I got married. This was a second marriage for the two of us. And in a few months we were asked to do a marriage preparation class for youth at a youth conference. So that was nice. We did a little bit of that, prepared a little bit of materials. We did a couple more over a couple of years of time, and just started to put some things together. And then we ended up with 3 Baha'i close friends whose marriages lasted 3 months, 9 months, and 4 years. And we got upset and started to ask, what is it that went wrong? What is it that could have been done differently? And out of that process, we looked at each other and said, we don't know a whole lot about this topic area, but we're smart people. We ought to be able to come up with something that would make a difference for the Baha'i community, which was our initial focus. At the time, I was a business journalist. Craig was doing sales for a manufacturing company. Definitely nothing directly connected to marriage. And we ended up publishing the first edition of a workbook called Marriage Can Be Forever, Preparation Counts in early 2003. We sold 1,000 copies of that in 3 months. And went, wait a minute, it seems like there's a need in the Baha'i community for this work. Within a few months, we had picked up Johanna Merritt-Wu as a co-author and put out a second edition of the book, which, as you can see, many people refer to as the Big Green Book in the Baha'i community. It's now out as a 3rd edition. So it's a thorough tool for marriage preparation. Once we got engaged with that work, then we started to say, well, maybe it made sense for me to be doing this kind of work full-time. And we ended up establishing a social and economic development project / company called MarriageTransformation. And I gradually stopped doing journalism and started doing this work full-time, at which point we thought we should probably get some training, and got trained then officially to be relationship and marriage educators. Marriage Transformation's focus has been influencing the culture of the Baha'i community to include relationship and marriage preparation as part of the culture of the community. And in return, influencing the marriage education community, so my professional peers, with including things that are very specific to the Baha'i writings, such as character, chastity, consultation, equality, and intercultural marriage principles. And the current purpose statement of the project, of the company, is Marriage Transformation is an educational service company dynamically empowering individuals, couples, and professionals to gain knowledge and skills for creating happy, unified, and lasting character-based marriages. So that gives you a sense of kind of where things have gone over the last 9-10 years, is developing all of these sorts of things. The early learning or the learning in action that has happened, we really felt like it was a huge gift from the House of Justice to be starting this project just at the same time the House of Justice started talking about learning in action as a concept, since we were heading into such new things. And that's been a huge gift to us. We had to learn how to apply skills that we already had, but to a whole new field. We connected with the Office of Social and Economic Development at the World Center, who told us to start small and grow as your own capacity, pace of learning, and resources permit. And resources is an ongoing challenge in the whole thing. We've had lots and lots of generous volunteers who have assisted along the way. But at this point, it's still just, officially me doing this work full time. We needed initially to find a niche in the marriage education field that was not currently being filled and that was in alignment with Baha'i principles. And so we began with character. We noted that in the marriage education field there's a researcher called John Gottman, and he had in his work determined that one of the primary things that destroys marriages is couples doing character attacks against each other. So, you're irresponsible, you're a lazy jerk, those sorts of things start to deteriorate a marriage. And so we looked at that, and we consulted with Dan and Linda Popoff, who have created the Virtues Project. Many of you will have heard of them. to see how could we take the character teachings and put it together with the current research and develop that as a niche in our contribution to the marriage education field. And Brenda, that's your cue, dear, is going to pass out to you, and we may need, actually, she's probably going to need a little bit of assistance. I'm going to pass out a character card. So on, thank you. On one side of the card is the qualities that, as we've looked at how character applies to the relationship and marriage field, the qualities that seem to be most applicable to relationships and marriages. So there's hundreds of virtues, hundreds of character qualities, but these 58 are the ones that we currently feel are most applicable to relationships and marriages. And so, stay on the mic. So a lot of the materials that we've developed, some of you may have seen a book for married couples called Pure Gold, Encouraging Character Qualities in Marriage. So there's that, and then there's Creating Excellent Relationships, The Power of Character Choices, which is in depth about character as well. So that has been one of our huge contributions then to the marriage education field. Everybody have a card? Anybody not? Sorry, yeah, we're good. Thank you, Brenda. So on that card as well, and we're not going to practice it in this workshop because that's not our focus, but on the other side of the character qualities is a communication tool. And in most of the workshops that I do, we end up teaching individuals and couples to do character acknowledgments of each other using that tool. So that's one of my gifts to you today, is you have that to take with you. As far as delivery mechanisms for marriage education, where we're at so far, with lots of room to grow, but where we're at so far is there are lots of books and ebooks, because I'm a writer, and so that tends to be what I create. At this point, we've sold in this period of time approximately 12,000 of different types of books. So not bestseller and a good accomplishment. The Marriage Can Be Forever Preparation Counts workbook has now sold about 4,200 copies globally. And so we feel like that's a contribution to starting the culture of marriage preparation being part of the Baha'i community. We've done dozens and dozens of workshops, primarily sponsored by Baha'i schools or spiritual assemblies. And this summer, my social action, social discourse outreach has been to start to do workshops at general market marriage conferences. So the Better Marriages Conference, and I'm out here in California to do them at the National Association of Relationship and Marriage Educators Conference, which is in Anaheim in about a week. And so my key goal for this summer has been to introduce consultation, couple consultation, as a skill into the general marriage education field. And so you'll see in the bookstore Deciding in Unity, which was the book that I put together to help other marriage education professionals teach couples the skill of consultation, and for couples to learn it together. There are websites. So one of the reasons you have this little purple card is at the bottom of the card are two websites. So MarriageTransformation.com is the key commercial site. You also have Baha'iMarriage.net on there, which is also Baha'iRelationships.com. And that's our service site for Baha'is. So it's full of all kinds of resources, pre-planned feast readings about marriage, pre-planned devotionals about marriage, lots of quotations, and many resources that are free downloads, workshops for youth, for young adults, all kinds of things. So that's there for you as a resource. The WillNet Institute has started to collaborate with me. We've done one course this spring on relationship and marriage education, and we're heading into a learning in action experiment starting in September. The flyers are out there at the WillNet Institute booth. Baha'is are really busy, yes. And so we're going to start experimenting with some 4-week-long courses, focused some for singles and some for married couples. WLGI Radio is in the middle of recording in South Carolina, is in the middle of recording some educational spots on marriage with us. And I do coaching and premarital readiness assessments and assessments with couples who want to strengthen their marriage and so on, usually via Skype because the Baha'i community is very global. And we've been quoted in newspapers, magazines, websites, radio, all kinds of things. So a fairly significant amount of things have happened in the last years. The geographic reach of the project, orders have come in from all over the globe. I've got a wall on the shipping office, a map on the wall of the shipping office, and we've had orders from China to Finland, from South Africa to the North Pole.
Wow.
And the primary audience for us at this point is English speaking in the main countries where books are bought and English language is spoken. And so the US and Canada, the UK, Australia have been the places where the